Well, more than a decade ago, online and phone counselling services were set up, known as 1800RESPECT, and that was for people who were experiencing or had experienced domestic violence. But from today, there is a new way that you can access that support. Instead of having to make a phone call or head online, you can text. Now, what happens is as soon as you send a text message, you'll get automated messages providing initial support and services, but from there you'll be connected with a counsellor and you can text back and forward with questions. They can provide support and they can also point you in the direction of local services or even, for example, emergency accommodation. Now, the government says over the past 2 weeks they did a soft launch and they've provided a bit of an insight into some of the people that are accessing this support now through the text message service. For example, there was one person that had lost their voice due to being strangled, but it meant they could get support sooner and quicker because they could access the SMS line instead of having to make a phone call. Now, the details in terms of who and how you need to call 1800RESPECT if you're experiencing domestic violence, you can call on 1800-737-732, or you can go online to 1800respect.org.au, or that text service now that's available, as I mentioned, is 0458 737 732.
So, Steffi, following a number of deaths in South Australia in recent weeks, there have been growing calls for a royal commission in the state. Where is that at?
So the Counting Dead Women initiative states that 58 women across Australia have been killed this year, allegedly by a person they know. Of that entire number, a number of women have been killed in South Australia in recent weeks. So as you mentioned there have been these growing calls for a royal commission specifically in South Australia. The Minister for Social Services, Amanda Rishworth, at a federal level, she was asked if the federal government would support or call on the South Australian government to move in that direction and set up a royal commission into domestic violence and that increasing number of women being killed. And this is what she had to say.
When it comes to a Royal Commission in South Australia, that is a matter for the South Australian government, and I know they'll be consulting about that. But what I would say is we have a national plan in place that was widely consulted with victim survivors, frontline services. We now have action plans in place. There's resources available. We need to get on with the job of delivering those programs and support in place. That national plan provides us a really important roadmap. We all need to be pulling in the same direction.
Now, the South Australian government says it's looking at all options, and we do know that the Premier will meet with sector leaders and advocates next week to discuss the matters further.